Is now to speak about the midterm messaging, what it means for this coming Tuesday. CNN political commentators Bakari Sellars and Stewart. Good to have you both on. Good morning to you. Bakari, I wonder if we could begin with the president's message last night, not dissimilar from what we heard from him on September 4th. First, rather, clearly he's genuinely concerned about the threat to the democratic process here. But politically, is this a winning message going into these midterm elections?
I think it is. And I think last night he was extremely presidential and he wasn't partisan. It was, of course, a political speech focused on democracy, but it wasn't a speech catered towards Republicans or Democrats per se. In fact, I think it was catered towards those individuals in the middle of the country. I mean, Ron Brownstein says this often. I'll repeat it until I'm blue in the face next week, is that this is an election of double negatives where people don't have an appetite for either party or either candidate in their respective races. And what Donald Trump did was give those voters something to hang your hat on. If you're an election denier or you don't want to promote or ensure the stability of democracy, you cannot be elected to the United States Senate or the United States House of Representatives. And that was his message last night. It was giving voters, particularly those voters who are in the middle, not to the far left or far right, a reason to vote. And I think it was very profound.
Stewart, we just showed a short time ago, perhaps we could show it again, what voters say their decisive issues are this election. Of course, economic issues at the top of it. Do you agree that that's a impactful message from the president?
Well, you look at those numbers, the economy is 51% and voting and election concerns are down in single digits. So we're hearing from even Democrats with concern over the president's speech last night, not just in terms of the message, but the messenger. His message on the democracy is on the brink is not what's top of mind with voters. Voters are concerned with money in the bank, not democracy on the brink. So he would have been better served to focus on economic issues as well as the inflation, but also the messenger. We've heard New York Times, Peter Baker this morning said that many Democrats are trying to distance themselves from President Biden due to his low polling numbers in the 40s. Our colleague David Axelrod also said the same, that Democrats would prefer to run their own race. So I think that's where the trouble lies. 5 days out from the election, not speaking about the issues that are top of mind for voters. That's a big concern.
Bakari, to Alice's point there, earlier this morning, CNN had Tim Ryan, of course, locked in quite a tight race for the Senate in the state of Ohio. Hear what he said about wanting, or frankly not wanting, the National Party's support in this race. Have a listen.
You know, the National Democratic Party has never been really good at strategic political decisions. So, you know, it's not a surprise here. Thank God that I have enough experience that I've built this campaign not needing them, and we really don't want them at this point. We've built a robust machine here in Ohio that doesn't need the National Democratic Party, and it's going to give me a level of independence that most senators don't have.
Wow, doesn't want them, doesn't need them. That's quite a stark message from a Democrat.
No, it's not a stark message. It's a candidate that wants to win. I mean, Tim Ryan's run a hell of a race. He's doing what's best for the citizens of Ohio. I mean, I think we have to look at it through the prism of you run races to win them. And Tim Ryan is running a winning race. He has a coalition of rural voters, black voters. He has them in the city. He has them in the suburbs. He has college-educated women. And he's given himself a fighting chance. And Democrats haven't had a fighting chance in Ohio since Barack Obama. If you follow any races in this country, you have to follow Pennsylvania because I believe Fetterman is still up in every poll since the debate. And then the two races that are going to be of the utmost import that people are not talking about because they're not nationalized races are Ohio and North Carolina. And no, we don't need the DNC in particular in those races because Sherry Beasley and Tim Ryan are doing what's best respectively for Ohio and North Carolina, and they're running damn good campaigns.
Alice, I do want to ask about Republican messages going into this race. Of course, they're playing economic issues highly, understandably so, but they're also talking about investigations, a lot of them, and you know that there can often be a limited amount of patience, enthusiasm for those. But specifically on economics, do Republicans have a plan to address, for instance, inflation? What is that plan?
Well, certainly. And you look at the commitment to America that Kevin McCarthy put out, and if Republicans do win, he would certainly be one to set the agenda. The key priorities are certainly on addressing inflation, and a large part of that is by reducing regulations and strengthening the economy and doing everything we can to support businesses to not only provide jobs, but also to have jobs with higher pay. and implement some pro-growth tax policies that will help people across the board. But also the commitment to reducing crime and addressing the crisis at the border are key priorities for Republicans as they are poised to take over come in just 5 to 6 days.
Bakari, your response to that plan?
Well, I mean, that's not much of a plan. That's more of some 50,000-foot view things. But one of the things we do know that Republicans want to do is cut Social Security. I mean, they've been talking about this. Rick Scott has been talking about this. This is a major issue for voters. And yes, inflation is not just a problem here in the United States. It's a global problem because people fail to realize we just emerged from a pandemic. It's a serious issue. Pocketbook issues are serious. The border is serious. And crime is definitely a serious issue. I agree with Alice on that. I mean, these are all issues my family talks about. But there's no plan. Republicans have no plan. And Democrats actually have solutions. We just have to see if they work out.
Well, there's the center of the debate here. We'll see how voters come down on it. Bakari Sellars, Alice Stewart, thanks so much to both of you.
Thanks, Jim.